The Kansas City Chiefs are taking on the Denver Broncos in a very meaningful game for Denver on Sunday. The winner of this game, if you're Denver, you punch your ticket to the playoffs, and the Chiefs are just playing for fun in this game as Carson Wentz was named the starter by head coach Andy Reid. This is official now, coming from Adam Schefter. Josh and I are going to break it all down. You guys are listening to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy. And today I have the luxury of being joined by my good friend Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com. And together we're going to talk about the latest update that we got from Adam Schefter that Carson Wentz will officially start on Sunday against the Broncos. A few other candidates that also are probably going to be sitting are Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and Trent McDuffie. So no real surprise there. But Josh, I do want to get your thoughts on Carson Wentz starting at quarterback. Do you think that he could actually go into Denver and beat this Broncos team and denying them a spot in the playoffs?
I do, actually. And I actually, Michael, don't want that to happen. I'd prefer the Broncos actually win this game. And I made a video about that on my channel explaining why, because that opens the door for the Bengals making it in. I want no part of the Bengals at any point. Just don't even give them the opportunity. You can handle the Broncos in the playoffs if that's what it comes down to. But I do think Carson Wentz can beat the Broncos. He's good enough. Because this is a guy that easily could have competed for a starting job elsewhere. Now, it would have been for a bad team. Like Carson Wentz, if he's your starting quarterback, you're probably not a very good team. But, you know, he can play. And he's thrown for a lot of yards in his career. He's thrown for a lot of touchdowns, also a lot of picks. But he has underrated mobility. This is a good set of weapons around him, depending on who all plays. But, I mean, Andy Reid has been able to scheme some stuff up for backup Chiefs quarterbacks in the past to make them look competent. And I think Carson Wentz is the best backup they've had in a while. And so I think that creates a situation where Carson Wentz could potentially go out there and look pretty good. And I've actually been really hoping that we see him at some point. And this will honestly be probably the most fun Chiefs game of the season, Michael, because it'll be stress-free. We don't have to worry about the results. I think you can agree that watching Chiefs games hasn't really been that fun this year. It's been kind of stressful, but I'm looking forward to seeing Carson Wentz out there with the second-team offense.
Yeah, Josh, I mean, you hit it right on the head. This is the first time all season that this game means nothing. The Chiefs are just, you know, playing for fun. I mean, there's a couple guys that are playing for their jobs and then other, you know, assets like, you know, maybe some incentives that they could hit. But this game, in the grand scheme of things, for the Chiefs means nothing. And if they do beat Denver, then there is a chance the Bengals could sneak into the playoffs. The Dolphins would still have to lose to the Jets. And I don't know if you've watched the Jets recently, Josh, but God, they are bad. They are a bad football team. And so I don't think that would happen. I think Miami would probably find a way to get in because also Cincinnati would have to beat Pittsburgh. And, well, without Pittsburgh's looking, they probably would beat Pittsburgh. But yeah, I do think that Carson Wentz can go into Denver and beat this Broncos team. But this is going to be a Broncos team that's motivated to punch their ticket to the playoff for the first time since like 2015. So they have not made it in a long time. And this is their best shot. And Sean Payton had these guys playing some pretty good football until the last couple of weeks where they lost to the Chargers and then they lost to the Bengals. And they're very quickly going from a team that was a surefire playoff team to, oh, they need to win this Sunday. This is a must-win game for the Denver Broncos, and it's not for the Kansas City Chiefs. And they also did get some good news about DJ Humphries. This is coming from head coach Andy Reid. He said there is a chance he's feeling better. I just want to see how he does in practice, how he's holding up. And so he kind of hinted that DJ Humphries could play this Sunday against the Broncos. We saw today that he did return to practice along with Shamari Connor, but we kind of talked about it on your channel, Josh. We don't really know the likelihood that DJ Humphries is going to play any meaningful snaps in the playoffs, but do you think that he'll play a lot on Sunday? And do you think that, you know, he can do a good job, you know, protecting Carson Wentz?
I hope so. And I mean, look, he's had quite a while now to get healthy. We're getting to the point where it's like, if we don't see him this Sunday, I don't know if we ever do, because I don't think he can be your starting left tackle in the postseason after hardly playing in the regular season, having zero rapport with Patrick Mahomes. So if we don't see him this weekend, I don't think we see him. But I think it's going to be a low pressure situation for him. And I think that's a good thing, coming off of injury and also not playing much this year. If he's practicing and he plays, I think he'll do a good job.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. I don't think that we see DJ Humphries in the playoffs if we don't see him on Sunday, but I think that's also a good thing because that means your protection with Joe Thuney has held up and it has been so solid that you don't need to rush a DJ Humphries back who didn't even finish a game with the Chiefs this season. He got hurt and had to leave. And so you can't bank on his health for a, 2 or 3 game stretch when he just hasn't shown it over the past 2 years. But it will be interesting to see what he looks like at left tackle on Sunday. Now, Josh, we have a couple players playing in this game like a Nico Remigio and a Carson Wentz and a Carson Steele that may have a chance to really, turn some heads and maybe show, some casual NFL fans or maybe some casual Chiefs fans what they could do and, maybe fight for a job on another team. Carson Wentz could be a starting quarterback in the NFL somewhere next year if he goes out there and performs. And so who do you think has, I don't want to say the most pressure, but the most to gain by balling out on Sunday?
That's a really good question. I hadn't really thought about that much. Obviously, a lot of it is dependent on who plays. Well, because you mentioned some of these guys are going to be out there kind of maybe playing for 2025, maybe on another team somewhere. A guy like Remigio, it's not a guarantee he makes the roster next year, but maybe he could go out there and show something, kind of like an Amir Smith-Marset, who has been a solid returner in the NFL for a couple teams since leaving Kansas City, and he showed out in training camp. Carson Wentz is a good one because obviously, when he signed here, Michael, he probably figured there would have been more blowouts and he would have gotten a little bit more of a chance to show what he can do at this point. So I'm sure he's going to be looking to show out in this first start for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think the most to gain would be the rotating cast of characters at cornerback that we're going to see in this game. There's a lot of those guys that really are not proven yet. We need someone to emerge from there. And I imagine Trent McDuffie is not going to play much, if at all, in this game. And if that's the case, you got to see what you have at cornerback. You have to empty the bench there. And I think those guys at cornerback had the most to gain because this could very well determine, their team for 2025. It could determine, if they have a future in the NFL. I mean, this is a chance for one of those guys to grab a starting spot for a playoff run, for a Super Bowl run. That's a big opportunity right there.
Yeah, and I think that while a lot of people just view this as a throwaway game, like it is stress-free, but it's going to be really entertaining to watch because just because the Chiefs aren't playing Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce doesn't mean they can't go out there and win. Last year, they beat the Chargers in the final week of the season with backups. Yep. And so they can go do this with Carson Wentz, who is maybe the most capable backup quarterback that Andy Reid has had with Patrick Mahomes. And so they could definitely go out there and just spoil some Broncos fans' hopes and dreams by knocking them out of the playoffs. But I feel like it's going to have to be a complete team effort on both sides of the ball. I do agree with you. The cornerback group is going to be one that I'm going to be looking at very closely. I'm going to be looking also at the edge rushers. Do we see Mike Dana play in this game? Felix Uzama. He had a good game against Pittsburgh. Can he keep that momentum going? And just there's so many guys that if they can perform well, not only is that going to hopefully carry over into next season, but you're putting tape out there for other teams or, even the Chiefs to say, oh, we didn't know that you were capable of doing this. We can put you in that position. We can, maybe file you in with, Trent McDuffie or just find different ways to use you. And they could maybe carve out more of a role because they're going to be able to show it to Andy Reid for 60 minutes on Sunday.
Yeah, and also the Chiefs have an opportunity here in the last few weeks before the postseason to potentially add some help along the defensive line. Yannick Ngakoue was just waived by, I believe it was
the Patriots.
Patriots, or was it the Ravens? I know he went from one team.
It was the Patriots.
But they could add him if they wanted to. But the bigger name that I'm looking at is Calais Campbell. All signs are pointing towards the Miami Dolphins releasing him to give him a chance to latch on to a contender. Maybe you're looking to see if maybe you need to add a guy like that right before the postseason run. because a guy like Calais Campbell, excuse me, he could be kind of this year's version of the Terrell Suggs signing from the 2019 Super Bowl run, where you just need that little bit more pass rush juice on the defensive line that you currently don't have. Because I think the edge group has been playing better. I think the defensive line has been playing better as of recently, but you're going to go up against some better competition in the postseason. Do you need that one more piece to get you over the hump, though? That's what I'm going to be looking to see as well.
True. And I also, to kind of bring it back into this game, like, this is a divisional game. The Chiefs take divisional games very seriously, and this could also potentially be a future playoff matchup.
Yes.
If the Broncos can go into Buffalo and beat them, assuming that they win on Saturday or Sunday and they get that playoff spot and they can beat Buffalo, we might see Denver again. We could see the Chargers again. And so maybe, not throwing your entire game plan out there, in this game while finding a way to use the backups and find them playing time. I think that you could have a really good day on Saturday. I don't know why I keep saying Saturday. You could have a really good game on Sunday without maybe showing the full playbook.
Yeah, for sure. And this will be an opportunity to kind of sit back, see what the Broncos game plan is, because they're obviously going to be trying to win this game. They're going to have to empty the bag in order to make the postseason. So I think they're going to show some stuff that is worth taking if you're Andy Reid and game planning around that in case you see them again later on.
Yeah, Josh, I could not agree more. But before we go any further, guys, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors of this channel all football season long.
The Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway is the place to be. With over 1,500 slot machines, 35 table games, 4 restaurants, and a new ESPN Bet sportsbook, there are plenty of ways to find your fun. For more chances to win, follow them on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. At Rice Real Estate Group, they're more than just a real estate team. They're a full-service partner in residential, commercial, and investment properties. They specialize in guiding clients through every stage, from the buying and selling process to handling complex, short sale situations with ease. Their passion lies in the personal one-on-one care they bring to every client relationship, ensuring each experience is tailored, smooth, and successful. Here it's all about building trust, delivering expertise, and ensuring every client feels valued throughout their journey. For more information, call Marla Rice at 816-819-9333.
Special shout out to the sponsors that support this channel all football season long. But Josh, before we get out of here, my final question for you. What is your final score prediction for this game? Do you think the Chiefs can win it? Do you think that this is going to be a game that the Denver Broncos squeak out because it is so important to them? Or do the Chiefs play spoiler in 2025?
I'll do, you know what, Michael? I'll mix it up a bit. I am going to tell you what I want to see, and then I'm going to tell you what I think will happen. I would like to see the Chiefs lose this game because I think that gives them the best path in the postseason, unironically. But I think the Chiefs will probably end up winning by a final score of 27-20. And I think one of the Chiefs' scores comes from either a defensive touchdown or something goofy happens on special teams. That's what I'll say.
I think that you're on the right track. This is going to be one of those ugly games where you see probably a defensive touchdown, 2 fumbles, interceptions for both teams, a 17-13 grind. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be on top of it. I'm still going to, think about this pick for the next couple of days. But I do think that if Carson Wentz plays the entire game and we don't get Chris Oladokun at any point, the Chiefs are going to have a chance to win this game. And so that is a very exciting thing. The Chiefs could finish 16-1, ladies and gentlemen. That is a absurd thing. We still got people telling us the Chiefs aren't any good. So welcome to the new year, I guess. But Josh, my final question for you is, where can the people find you?
You can find me here on YouTube, Show Me Football. That's the channel name. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And then lastly, you can follow me on Twitter at ShowMeFB.
All that stuff, guys, will be linked in the description of this video. As for me, if you have not already done it, hit the like button on this video and subscribe for more daily Chiefs coverage. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.